But since Shifu is our only Rupture option, she's the only specimen we can use. Hey proxies, Senpai here. Rupture is one of 6 specialties an agent can have. It was introduced in version 2.0 with the release of Yixuan and will receive more agents in 2.3. And today, we'll be covering what Rupture is, the implications it had on release, and how its apparent future is failing to deliver. But hold up, let's switch things up for a second. What happened to Howl? Don't worry about it. What I've got in store for you is better than any scratch card he'd offer you. Let me tell you about today's sponsor, LootBar. LootBar is a safe and trusted shop where you can top up premium currency for your favorite games, including other Hoyo titles. The good part is that LootBar gives you more Monochrome for way less, with a discount of up to 23% off. For my min-maxers out there, you know that number makes a huge difference. Whether you're saving up for a signature W engine or just trying to stretch your pulls further, every bit counts. And if you're brand new to LootBar, you get an extra 10% off coupon on your first order. That's 2 big, juicy coupons stacked. The whole process is quick and safe. Just enter your UID, your region, pick what you want, and your order shows up fast. No login info, no sketchy risks, just clean, simple delivery. Plenty of other proxies and creators already use LootBar for their deals, and now you can too. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description or the pinned comment and start saving today with LootBar. But we've got some ruptures to talk about. So, let's get started. While new releases can be exciting, it's important that they're handled with care to ensure that everything that came before them isn't completely overshadowed. Unfortunately, the way Rupture agents are now is a far cry from what could have been. The Rupture specialty is known for using sheer damage, a special type of damage which bypasses enemy defense to deal massive damage. Simply put, imagine your agent has 100% pen ratio for just being a Rupture agent. This does not mean you will ignore elemental resistance. This is a different stat altogether, so make sure to respect the boss's weaknesses and resistances in order to fight them optimally. While ignoring defense lets you build other stats and skip pen ratio without losing its benefits, there are some downsides, such as flat pen rolls being useless on all of your agent's discs. This makes building these units harder since any rolls with pen are completely wasted.
Shut the fuck up! Know your fucking place, trash!
Since pen ratio will also be useless, majority of the time you will want to build 30% damage bonus for your agent's attribute, so your Disc 5 main stat choices are very limited. Lastly, being the newest class, there aren't many options for W engine choices outside of an agent's signature. Since we'll be receiving a dedicated Rupture support, I'm sure most public opinion will be hyping up Rupture as the best while not tackling the glaring issues this specialty has. So far, by just analyzing the premise of Rupture, we can see there are many points against it on the topic of accessibility. Releasing one A rank and a premium support will not alleviate this. But since Shifu is our only Rupture option, she's the only specimen we can use to base any of our claims or theories on. The official description for Rupture states that they possess great offense and survival capabilities. What exactly does this mean? Unfortunately for us, this is vague enough that the devs don't really have to commit to any solid idea. And honestly, the usage of the word survival should be enough to send anyone into a cold sweat. The wording here doesn't give us much to go by. Does this mean that agents will have higher mobility to survive? The game's action-based, every agent should be mobile. Is this class more about actively countering enemy attacks? If so, well, where does that leave defense agents? And furthermore, this implies enemies in the future will have a heavy lean towards being highly aggressive, and the value of defensive assists will go up. So what's the point of evasive assists? The implications Rupture brings are stepping all over the game. Now, does survival have something to do with HP? Well, that's divisive. Let me explain. Before Rupture, HP was nearly useless, just there to keep agents alive. Base HP plus a leveled slot 1 disc was already generous, so you never really needed to actively build it. With practice, you'll likely not be getting hit either. The game actively rewards you for dodging and parrying, and in order to clear combat, you need to be alive. so there's a heavy reinforcement on not getting hit. It's like learning how to ride a bike. Once you learn to balance, you don't need training wheels anymore. You can just grab those handlebars and keep on riding. And since we didn't have any agents which scaled off of HP, that means the only benefit HP had is actively being devalued by you becoming more skilled. So, what was done about this? Rupture was released, and we got our first HP scaling agent, Yixuan. Now, there's even more controversy here. There are two trains of thought. The first, Rupture will exclusively be the HP scaling class. The second, Yixuan is special and will scale off of HP, but not all Ruptures need to do this. Let's unpack these ideas. If Rupture is exclusively the HP scaling class, this is new and can definitely be explored. However, why is it so poorly alluded to in the Rupture tooltip? And also, if this is going to be a general fact of all Rupture units, why does this exist? This one line of text had me subscribing to the idea that not all Rupture agents would scale off of HP. If anything, it's ambiguous enough that it makes sense no matter which route the devs pick. Why else would this be here? For every case of unique scaling, it is made explicitly clear that this is not normal. If it was, it wouldn't be written in. Exploring the idea that Rupture could be a more universal class is exciting. The way I saw it, the Rupture tag was just a fancy label that means this unit ignores defense. There's no precedent for it, so we can easily imagine units being released as Rupture, but leaning towards different playstyles. Honestly, the specialty system is kind of broken. This isn't the first time either. Look at Caesar. She's a defense agent, but her gameplay and insane impact in days have her play like a stunner. So, in my mind, it was totally plausible to have an agent released that is Rupture, but plays like Anomaly. Imagine Bernice, but instead of building AP and attack, you build AP and another seemingly useless stat, just because it would have a unique sheer force scaling. Or if an agent like Trigger, a stunner who usually stacks an unusual amount of crit rate, were a Rupture stunner, their crit rate could instead scale uniquely by converting a portion of it into sheer force. This concept of dynamically built Rupture agents is not hard to implement, makes builds more unique, and also makes substats more viable. And there lies the problem. If every substat has value, then suddenly every disc looks viable. Great for players, but not so great for keeping us chasing upgrades. And the chase is half the point. Imagine we get a Rupture agent that scales with flat pen. Now, before you all light me ablaze hotter than my hit single, it would be possible for a Rupture to build pen, despite it being useless. How? Just give it a scaling that makes it worth. If flat pen got converted to crit rate at a better conversion rate than 2.4% per roll, all of you would be building that shit. It's the same reason we have an Anomaly unit building crit rate. Flat pen is in a similar position to HP, where no unit uses it directly, its usefulness is outpaced by other stats, and most people probably throw out their high pen rolling discs. This low demand is the perfect opportunity for them to throw a curveball and demand their newest premium cash cow requires this stat and isn't built on day one. Now, after the drip marketing of 2.3 agents, we know we'll be heading into our first Rupture patch. Lucia being our first premium support option, Monado being our first A-rank Rupture option, and Idari.
Hell no, man. What the fuck?
There are rumors saying that all of these Rupture-oriented units will have a heavy lean on HP scaling, with the DPS units also scaling with crit stats. Also, there seems to be some HP management mechanics in there. This confirmation isn't good. If we really think about it, Rupture is becoming a crit-based damage-dealing class. The only caveat is that it builds HP instead of attack. Its gimmick being it has a 100% pen ratio. Given these lists of traits, why would anyone in the future decide to play attack as a class over Rupture? Rupture also has a unique multiplier in their damage formula, which just buffs their damage even more because it's not oversaturated like other multipliers due to being brand new and not having many sources for it. There's not many checks in the game that can balance this out. One possibility is that a Rupture agent's skill multipliers might just be tuned down so that they deal less damage that way and don't completely outclass attack agents. However, given we only have Yixuan's numbers to go off of, and she's a Void Hunter level agent, we can't really dive into this. The ample size is The sample size is non-existent. Another option is for them to release enemies with low or zero defense, invalidating Rupture, increasing the value of flat pen in the case of low defense, and having to insanely inflate HP to offset defense drop so the fights last a good amount. Creating new mechanics tailored to shill a new release, or discouraging the use of existing methods, is a very real tactic employed by the devs, multiple times already. To back our claims, we interviewed a combat specialist. Edit Boo had this to say. One of the greatest tools you can have to prepare yourself for the future of this game is learning how the damage formula works. Knowing the math really does give some insight on what could be possible. I've been playing ZZZ since 1.0 with level 50 and below units, and I'm still able to fully clear. Largely in part because I did the math and figured how broken tampering with enemy defenses. And what was the first thing we got to shake things up? A class that completely negates enemy defense. What's worse is that to make things interesting, they're trying something with this HP management gimmick, where your Rupture units have to be above or below a threshold of HP to get the most out of it. This is cool in concept, high risk, high reward, until you realize that it's a nightmare to balance. Let's break it down. Let's say you want the Rupture agent to play at low HP. Well, right now, they're all tailored to having insanely high HP due to their scalings, so 1/3 of their 30k HP pool is still sizable, so you won't be getting one tap. There goes the risk. To reach those low HP thresholds, I doubt they'd encourage getting hit, because getting hit wastes time, and forcing this would just punish players who have taken the time to get good. So now, we have to introduce attacks that cost HP. This introduces an issue of, the attack must be good enough to use frequently, but if it's that good, then what happens if I use it too much, and now I can't pay the HP cost? Now you're locked out of your best skill. Well, what if we make it cost HP until a certain threshold and then it's free? Well, now you just spam it and don't get hit. It's the same playstyle we already have. There's nothing new. What if we introduce HP regeneration mechanics? So players have to balance their HP and remain in a specific range so they get the most out of their kit. Well, now we have to tweak the HP regen to be just right so that a player can use their skills often to deal damage, have an engaging gameplay experience, but also be slightly inconvenient unless they get signature and mindscapes. All of this to achieve the same end result. Don't get hit, spam your best skill. Because all the numbers are just tailored to the optimal play experience, there really isn't any depth or skill to it beyond dodge and hit. That's just your baseline. You're not going out of your way to do something special, and that's a problem when you really think about it. An issue most signature W engines have. They reward you just for breathing. For example, Miyabi's. Looking at the ability, it's asking you to proc anomaly or use your EX special. These are things you'd normally do in your gameplay. It's just granting you a big reward for playing normally. If you're not doing these things on Miyabi, you're doing something insanely wrong. It's not like it's asking you to swap off of Miyabi during her fully charged Shimotsuki stance attack by rewarding off-field damage, or rewarding you for consecutive back-to-back disorders, things that are also integral to mastering Miyabi, but more technical. This HP management gimmick is one of those things that will seem impressive and rewarding on the surface, but once you realize that these things are specifically engineered to work seamlessly, it really just falls apart. There's no risk because your HP is so high that a fraction of it doesn't put you in danger. There's no skill because everything will be balanced to perform well with signature and the conditions aren't very creative. There's only reward. If you want true skill expression and a rush of adrenaline knowing that at any moment you might experience a sweet release of death, just field level 1 Fufu.
If you